Welcome to my energy update. Now, I'm a little bit late. I actually wanted to record this and do this yesterday, but there's a good reason for that. I actually recorded it 20 minutes and no sound on my computer. 20 minutes of my life I can't get back. Then I recorded it again and then I was like, nah, delete. It was just not a good day yesterday because we're right in the thick of the solar storms, and that's what this energy update is going to dive into. Like, that's the jump off on this energy update, right? Because we have been in such intense solar storms from about Friday, the whole weekend. Many felt better yesterday. I didn't. And that's why I just thought, you know what? Today is not the day for me to be putting anything out there because the struggle is real. And yesterday was a big purge because with these solar storms, obviously all your stuff comes to the surface. And it's literally like, do you remember back in the day? Let's take a moment and go back. Remember when we were young? Remember when we would go back? There would be a big clangor that would go on and we kind of gather our soul parts for that and then moving along, Now it's like clangor. It's consistent because it's ramped up, because just as you're coming up for air, there's another one. So why? So you can't resist. So you can just let that shit go, right? So another deep layer, and it's really, really kind of like that. And I'm actually embracing it and kind of loving it because what it's bringing up to the surface is I'm welcoming it because I don't want to be hanging around with any of the shadow and distortion any longer, which is why I said to you that June was going to be so powerful because of this reason. So if your shit is coming up, I reiterate what I said in the other video. You have a choice, okay? There doesn't have a little bit of PT, as we call it, little bit of spade work, you have to pitch up to the party. You've got to invest some work just as much as spirit is investing in you, right? So if you are going through big shadow purges, lots of emotional stuff coming up, why? Because we're being majorly redirected now. We're getting so close. Honestly, I can literally this month / July, watch things pop up from the ground. All those seeds you planted, you're going to go, nothing's happening. And then you're going to see little green shoots and you're going to go, holy moly, it's happening, right? So with all of this stuff coming up, you have a choice. You can anchor into the drama of it and go, oh my God, really invest yourself in the story. In fact, pull up a chair, sit around the fire and really get into it and believe it. Or you can actually step back and drop your anchor in the joyous June, Hathor's heart. We're with Hathor. She doesn't bring us back to the darkness just cause. She's bringing this up because we are anchored into the heart of Hathor. So you've got to drop anchor there. And then when you do that, that's going to make so much more sense. And you're going to be able to let that shit go a lot more. So if you are stuck in this repetitive cycle of everything is just dark, it's like, oh, another day in paradise, I roll. If you are there and you just kind of churning the same old story and there's no movement and there's no lightness, there should be. So if there's not, then you've dropped anchor there, right? So you just got to ask yourself, hang on a minute, let me just hoik that over here and throw it over Hathor's way. Do you know what I mean? And anchor into the belief system that joyous June, Hathor's house, this is what we're doing. And everything that is going on right now is happening for me, not to me. And this is what it looks like when it's working out for me because I'm anchored into that. Because that's your truth. But it's a very slippery slope if you just decide to kind of hang out with these guys that are just bad friends. They tell you bad shit and you always get into trouble. Always someone gets arrested. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? It's like hanging out with these friends are the kind of friends you go out with where you don't remember the night you come home with one shoe and your hair's all blown back to front and you're just or you lost your handbag. You're like, oh dear. That's when you know you're hanging out with the wrong crowd. It's that. Okay. So that's a good analogy of it. So solar storms bringing up loads of stuff. Now, just with that, I am moving through very, very deep woundings. They're coming up flashlight. Whoo, onto the next, onto the next. Why? Because I'm doing that. I'm anchored into Hathor's heart, okay? So that is why I'm being able to transmute and move through these layers so quickly. So like I say, if you're not and you're feeling like you are just buried, have a think about what I'm suggesting to you here. Let it land. Let it settle, petal, and let me know how you get on. Right. So now, embodying the balance. Well, there you go. Do you know what I mean? There's always going to be shadow. We're not meant to be in a Disney movie. The whole point of you coming here is to master the human experience. This is mastering the human experience. So when you embody the balance, which is basically sacred union within, when we talk about twin flames and things like that, everybody's so transfixed on their beloved out there that they complete me. No, they don't. They don't. You complete you. The beloved that you're seeking is through them, but to you, because they're your mirror. So this union that I speak of, and Hathor's definitely bringing this in because I could feel her whispering about union last week. And because last week we spoke a lot about motherhood and everything like that. This week I think it's all about music. So I'm going to be sharing some vibey stuff with you this week. But she's also talking about union. So union is basically your masculine and feminine coming together within, union is you found beloved you found connection to self, which is connection to one's wisdom. And you just start to become a little bit happier because of the divine balance, right? So in a way, like Hathor and Sekhmet is what we're going to be working with a lot in the temple. Actually, they've made it very clear today that this is what we're going to be doing. We're embodying the balance in our temple meeting this month. So we're putting details out about that today, stroke tomorrow. So look out for that. But going back to what Hathor was saying, she was just saying it's about embodying the balance now because they're upholders of Ma'at, all about the scales. And that's got to happen within you, right? Because then, of course, your life is then going to display exactly what's going on inside of you, this perfect balance, right? So when you are in this, when you start to tap into this union, which is happening about now, right? It is happening about now. And I can feel it because life is changing exponentially. And I can feel deep, deep down in my being, some big things are about to come. And it's everything we've ever wished for. It's everything I've ever wished for. But I'm super anxious about it. I can feel it's happening. So now all of a sudden it's be careful what you wish for. It's coming. It's coming. Oh shit. Okay, it's happening. Do you know what I mean? And now it's going to require you to have all your courage on board. Thank you, Sekhmet, to go and meet those gifts, because it is a big change, because we're so used to actually sitting at home and dying and being in the dark night of the soul. All of a sudden good things happen. We're whoa, it's a bit like being an abused child or something. It's which is essentially what's happened with our inner child. We've been abused. We've abused ourselves. And now all of a sudden all of this love is coming here and we're oh, I don't know what to do with that. This is a little bit different. Are you sure everything's just going to happen without any worries? I'm so used to worrying. Now I'm worrying about not worrying. Do you know what I mean? We kind of go through those phases, human aspects. Gotta love it, right? So now when you start to connect with self and you allow this union to come in with the help of Hathor, with the help of Sekhmet, Hathor with her beautiful water and Sekhmet with her beautiful fire, it's we start to balance up. We start to get connected here. We start to listen less to what everybody else is saying out there. You're listening to the gospel of you. You're tapped into your environment, which is nature, and you're just feeling happier, and everything's there's a lot less on your to-do list, because you were how did that happen? I thought I had loads to do. No, you're good. So how does that feel? You start to get less anxiety. You start to feel way more grounded. I actually wrote a whole list here, way more grounded. Negative beliefs start to dissipate and get swapped for the absolute truth, which is why you look at it and go, why is that not there anymore? That's that to-do list, you see. Those negative beliefs made your to-do list about 100 points on there for you to do today. Now all of a sudden there's 2, and those 2 things on your to-do list are things you really want to do, and you're well, that's far too much joy and happiness. I don't trust it. Do you know what I'm saying? Trust it, right? So now finding your tribe. I have had an absolute, I was smiling from ear to ear. I've had an influx of so many tribe members reaching out to me on Instagram. You know who you are. We're just chatting, man. And it's making me so happy, because it's just it's happening. It really is happening. And whether you're sat here still in the funk thinking it's not, I'm telling you now, it is happening. You just got a little bit further to go, and then you'll be on the cloud that I'm on. And I know that this significant shift is happening because everybody's reaching out. So what does that mean? If I'm less fearful about being seen, which is what I'm going to get into in a minute, then so's everybody else, which means they're going to go, I'm going to reach out to her. I'm going to reach out to her. I'm going to reach out to him. I'm going to have a chat to him. And then all of a sudden we're starting to really connect with each other, which is bringing this community. That's the oneness wisdom. So when that is happening and you're starting to meet tribe and you're starting to meet people that you feel like you've known all your lives, because you have, and there's a comfortability about it, and you're speaking the same language, all of a sudden you're well, I'm not going mental. I don't feel so separate now. All of a sudden support is coming through your physically incarnated comrades. Do you know what I mean? It's not just your star beings, which are your best buddies. It's now we have physical people, which are becoming fast friends, right? So that's another thing. So basically your tribe keeps you, your vibe. I've actually written here, can't read my own writing. Finding your tribe, but your vibe keeps you in separation. So pay attention to your vibe. If you are feeling like you don't want to be seen, if you're feeling like you're really channeling your inner hermit, nothing wrong with being an inner hermit. You know what I mean? I'm an Aquarius. We like our alone time a lot, even though I like to be out there a lot as well. But I like my alone time, and I'm very I'm a very deep kind of character. But But that can sometimes be coming from a place of fear because I don't want to go out there because I'm sick of being taken out by other people's energies and projections, all that kind of stuff. That was my belief system for a long time. How many of us have had to stick up our bum like a kebab and chucked on the fire and burnt as a witch? Loads of us. Even the men went through that. Even men were witches and they kind of went through that. So there's all these examples as to why we don't want to vibe with anybody, because it's just like, I know how this ends. You know what I mean? And it's just like, don't want to go on the fire. So it's like, all of these things, of course, we've all felt like that. But now that's done and dusted. We can't live our lives like that anymore. So you see, once we connect with our tribe, it kind of helps us heal a lot quicker. And, and then it also changes the vibration inside where we're like thinking that, there's so much more that we have to work on ourselves to get ready so we can go out there and do that thing. Your wheels will be spinning forever. So you are ready. Now is the time. What are you waiting for? You know what I mean? You are so ready. And this is what I've come to realize, it's that back years ago, I would do energy sessions with so many people and I would want them to heal me and fix me, and I'd work on me because I was trying to get my energy feeling safe enough, and I was feeling confident enough to be able to step out there and do that thing, action that project, that passion project. And guess what? It never came because I was already in separation, because my mindset was like, when I get there and I do that, then I'll be okay because of X, Y, and Z. That's separation consciousness. Where do you think in your life about those lines? Like even down to going to gym. When I go to gym and then I look at that protein diet and then I do that, and then I'll be skinny enough to get in those jeans that I've had in my wardrobe for about 10 years, then all of a sudden it's going to be okay. And I mean, that's separation consciousness in the very, very minimal everyday life example. But then the bigger things is, I want to go out there and share my medicine in the world. I have a book to write. I have a tour to share. I have like some teachings to do, whatever, being in service in a big way, whatever that means to you. I want to express my light in the world. Maybe you're an artist, maybe you're a painter. And now all of a sudden you're like, yeah, let me just work on myself so I can get ready to, it's like, what are you going to, like when you go on holiday, you're going to forever pack and not go. You're just constantly packing. Nobody does that. You pack your suitcase for a certain amount of time. For me, it takes days because I never know what to wear. Perimenopause. But anyway, pack. Then you get on a plane and you go and enjoy your best life. So let's not just stay at home and just pack and prepare for a sacred mission and expedition that actually never comes. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But when we apply it to our spiritual path, makes sense. Okay. So a lot of this, I keep threading and weaving this in about being seen. This is where we're at now, because there's such big changes going on. It is triggering the shadow maybe that just needs to have a little bit of a conversation with us. Like, okay, so you don't want to be seen. I understand the uncomfortability, but remember what I say, like you can only transform when you make sacrifice, right? It's the opposing forces. Sacrifice means you're going to go into a seriously uncomfortable zone. You're not going to like it that much, but it's the way that you have to go. So don't get it twisted that you're just going to be like sailing down a riverboat like a Disney movie, your hair blowing in the wind, and your whole magical life is going to wait you at the bottom. No, you're going to feel uncomfortable as fuck, and you're just like, I don't want to do this, because you're coming out of your comfort zone. So of course, when you accept that as the reality, part of the process, the trial by fire, the sacrifice that comes before you ignite the magic, because magic only ignites when you take risk. Risk is uncomfortable, right? Isn't it? It's not comfortable at all because you have to trust. That's when the results come. But with you just sitting there and waiting to prepare yourself to get into something, then it's not going to come. You're just going to keep spinning your wheels, right? So now the next one, well, this is perfect. Creating without agenda. What I have come to know, people, as I've taken a few days off, actually, I've gone through this solar storm. I actually started to take some days off last week, Friday, because I was just like, sure, I was tapped out, and I was like, I need to actually just come in here. And I did. And I spent all these days and like really observing myself, like, because I go back to what I've been saying. Where do we lack love, right? Where do we lack love? That's in our life. For me, I've spoken about it lots of times before, so I shan't get into it too deeply. Creating, right? I love creating, love it so much, which is why it sends me into a bit of a crack addict. I have to be in the right energy. So I have to be very, very mindful of that switch over from that energy of like creativity, enjoying it, absolutely loving it, to slip slipping over, and then all of a sudden being like over-focused, vibrating, and then burning out, right? So where does that come from? It comes from a place when somebody gives me a deadline, or I've got something to put out by a certain date, or somebody needs me to do this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh shit. It's like, what we need structure. We do need structure, and we do need kind of like a level of boundary for us to be able to land into to make our things pop, because that's the divine masculine, the ideas of the divine feminine, and the two must go together. But when I go too intense and too over focused on the agenda as to why I'm doing it, it bypasses the joy. It bypasses me as to why I'm doing it, which is why I've spent 4 days mixing DJ mixes and just living my best life. I've had so much fun. But why is that? Because that's not an agenda. That's just, I was just doing it. You're going to get to hear it this week because I'll put a SoundCloud account together. But I didn't mix the music in light of that. It's just music. Do you know what I mean? And it makes me feel really happy, and I hope you receive it the same. So, that was creating without agenda. And that's what Hathor showed me, in comparison to when I go into this funky energy and I get into the fear mode of having a timeline. So now today I've woken up, I've gone through all of this stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this video out of pure joy. Yesterday it wasn't, which is why I deleted all my shit yesterday. And I was like, I'm not putting that out, even though the video was quite fine. I was like, no, I'm pedantic about the frequency that I deliver everything that I share in the world, because it has to be high vibe. Otherwise you're going to feel it. And then what's the point? You know what I mean? So now, so I actually wrote time/deadlines compound fear or death, because that's essentially what it takes us to. Oh my God, I'm going to die if I don't do this. I have to do it. And you forget about yourself. So that was quite interesting. I wrote that. So impatience also crushes creativity. So you know what? If you're being impatient and you're vibrating the wrong way, leave it alone, put it down, go walk the dogs, go walk on the beach, go walk up a mountain, go have a smoothie, do something that is, because there's no point in going down that line. So call it. You have the power of discernment, and that is what mastering this human experience is all about. Knowing when to call it. It's in the 7 Sorrows of Mary. Mary. You know what I mean? It's like you got to know when to call it, and it's okay, because we're not supposed to be on all the time. So if it doesn't feel good and it feels funky and off, then it was meant to, because Spirit's saying to you, hey, go outside and play. Go outside and find benefit and joy in, I don't know, going for a walk or something like that, or seeing that friend. You can do this tomorrow because you can. You're not going to die. But we think we are. So now, moving on. Next point, joy. Okay, that's it. Joy. I've written, giving enough space and time for Hathor to show you. This is what she said to me over the weekend. She was like, she gave me a little bit of a stern talking to. I felt the Sekhmet in her. She said as soon as I said Sekhmet, I looked at my hair, look a bit like Crazy Wild Lion vibes today. I have brushed my hair, but wow. My mane's popping today. Anyway, focus. So now she said, give enough time for me to show you. It's no good, because this is what I always do. I'm like, yeah, I get the message. I give her half a day for her to show me. And then I'm like, no, that's it. Then I pull up my old habits and I go back to it. So I get half of the juice, but not quite a full cup. And then I sit there and I complain, and I'm like, well, everything's the same and it's shit. And she's like, because you haven't given it enough time and space for us to show you how this turns out. So I did. I gave her 4 days, and I was like, I had to go through the anxiety of not doing anything. And I thought, well, I'm giving to me. If the whole world burns, well, then I know that's what happens. But anyway, I just sat there 4 days, didn't do anything. And she showed me that this, what I do, and the mission, and connecting with tribe and having those important conversations. I had more conversations by not doing anything here and not like churning the butter, as I say. It just happened. It just happened. And then she was like, you see? So I had to give it a rest for a few days to be able to see how the divine feminine truly works. Not 60% of it where I get the idea. Listen, I'm one of these people that reads an instruction manual from the back page because I can't be asked. I want to just, impatience, you see? Just want to get to the last page. Just tell me. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not a good trait. And I miss a lot of things because I'm just too impatient. I'm like, go, 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 go. So she was like, no. Slow. So I did. And I tell you what, heart blown. Mind blown. She was like, just be in joy so you can enjoy. Be in joy so you can enjoy, right? So now the final one. I just said it earlier. Big changes, which taps into the being seen thing that I was talking about. Okay. Like, When we change, when we shift and we go through something, it is completely natural that your inner child is going, oh my God, it's going to be like being on an airplane. Exits are here, here, here. We need to know how to get the fuck out. And we start like freaking out because change is coming. And we're like, listen, I'm not used to this. And we start to panic a little bit, right? But you have to, this is the time when you stay super focused, super centered. You just breathe. Do you trust Hathor? Do you trust Hathor? Because this is ultimately what's about. We do all this work up there in the cosmos. But then when it comes to actually experiencing the full gifts of applying that wisdom and knowledge and bringing it in and grounding it, we don't do it. And then we sit there and we get upset and we moan and we whinge and we go, it's not happening. Do you know what I mean? But it's just like you, got to get out of the way of ourselves, right? So which means we have to do that walk forward to be seen. And that is always going to be, we're always going to go up the spiral with that. There's lots of different versions of being seen. And I'm not just talking about the fact that you've written a book and you might have to stand on a world stage and speak about it. I'm not talking about you doing a YouTube video or anything like that. It's about you just like being who you really, really are. A creative being and speaking how you want to speak, expressing your heart how you want to express, drawing a picture and just doing it. Doesn't matter what people think, wearing what you want to wear. This is all about things. It's about being in the truth of who you are as through your heart codes, expressing who you be, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a big mission where you go and do tours like me or something like that. It could just be that you're going to speak your truth with your husband or your wife. It could just be that you're going to go and do that thing like you wanted to go and surf. You want to learn that. Go and learn how to surf. Go and play golf if that's what wants to blow your doors off. I went and started DJing. And at first I was like, oh my God, everybody's going to just think that I'm too old for this shit. And they're going to listen to my mixes if they do at all. I'm just rubbish. I can't do this. That's part of not being seen because I'm not honoring my truth. So yeah, we can get literal with it where you're like, okay, so you are a teacher and you need to get out there and you need to share your work because there's others that have signed up to work with you. Then yeah, that's a thing. You know what I mean? That's a thing. So that is going to be the ultimate and the literal of being seen. And let me tell you, it is not easy. People look at me and they're just like, oh yeah, you're rapping away, you're doing all this kind of thing. It's easy for you. And I think, and I'll probably do another video on this actually, that what we see in other people, we compare. Compare brings despair because you look at them and in your mind, your ego makes up a story where they're like, well, they got everything together. They're doing this, they're doing that. Oh, wow. Like, look, she's off to Egypt again. Oh, wow. She's going to London. Oh, wow. Okay. She's holding a group here, there, everywhere, whatever. But guess what? You don't know what goes on behind. You don't know what goes on inside of me that like, you know what I mean? I get incredibly anxious when I have to go out there and hold space for many people. It doesn't mean that I can't do it. Absolutely, I can do it. But I go through my own medicine when I hold space for everybody else. And that's exactly how it should be. That is a true teacher. But it doesn't mean that I'm sat here just being all glorious and I'm connected to spirit and I'm just like, oh, no, I go through it myself. I get anxious. I get nervous. But I mean, when it's showtime and the lights go on, fuck, I got this. It's like, no problem. But it's like, trying to get the work out there, speak to people and put my word out there. You basically open to other people's opinions, but that's okay. Do you know what I mean? Because everybody's got their gospel, right? And that's all right. But it's been many years in the making for me to get here now to be as confident as I am. So I'm just sharing this with you to know that from a human perspective, don't compare yourself to others and say, well, I can't do what they do. There's no plan. Because what you're seeing there is not truth. It's your ego mind telling you a story that fits in with how you feel that you're not good enough to do that, which is absolute bullshit because you can do probably what I do better than I do. Do you know what I mean? Not that it's a pissing contest, but you know what I'm saying? It's about just doing you, getting out there. Don't look at others because that's a convenient sabotage, right? Because everybody's got a story. Nobody's got their shit together and nobody knows how this is going to go. No one, which is why I say to you, get your gospel out there, tap into your own heart, your own truth. And that's all we got, but that's everything. So on that note, I'm going to leave it here, guys. It's a very long energy update, but it was a lot to speak about. So I hope this lands and, many blessings for we're still in the month of Hathor. Keep opening that heart, keep asking to be shown. Where does love lack? Open to receive it. That's it and that's all. Peace. See you on the next video.